Hi, I'm Lynne with Softsquares. Welcome to the Saturday Stitch-uation, where we talk about all things quilting going on in my world. This is a weekly video. We're at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. The video comes out on Saturdays. It just shows you everything I've been up to in my studio, all the projects going on, things I have upcoming, some updates on different things, and kind of a review on things that have recently posted. Like, for example, this last week I posted quite a few videos. I did a shop tour for Forget-Me-Not Quilts. I did a box opening for the Sewers Club. And I did a box opening for Creative Notions for their December box, even though it was done in March. That's the most recent one. So yes, December is the most recent for that one. I did the block of the month for, I don't know if you can see this, the Silver Jubilee or the Daydream quilt. Block 11 has just come out. There's a video on that. I am getting my finishing kit stuff ready, so I'm excited that that quilt is near the end. There's one more block, and then the finishing materials have already been coming. It's just a matter of seeing what their sashing requirements are or directions, and I'm excited. So anyway, we're coming up with that. And then the Fat Quarter Shop, I have a block of the month, block 11 for them as well. So block 12 is about to be released, and the finishing instructions on that. Now this is what that block looks like. That there is the Bliss Quilt Along through Fat Quarter Shop Sew Sampler box. I have chosen to use different fabric than what they suggested. There we go. Because I have so much fabric and I had some things in mind I wanted to do. So what I did is I had several collections of fabrics that had just 5 different colors in them, and that way I felt like I'm not all over the place, because some of these collections, I feel like even though there could be 42 pieces in it, sometimes there's actually 42 different prints. And it is kind of scrappy looking, even though it's got some congruency to it. I really don't want that specifically for a block of the month, because there's already enough going on with the patterns being different. So I used my own fabric, and this is one that came from Tuesday Morning, which, by the way, all those stores are closing. They're doing a big closing of the first 200 of the 400, which just wrapped up here. And then the rest of the stores that are open are going to start closing also. They are doing a bankruptcy, and it's unfortunate, but all those stores are closing. But they had some really good deals on fabric, so if you still have access to one, go check it out before you can't. But anyway, they have a Quilt Logic brand of fabric that has just the 5 colors, and they come in the different pre-cut sizes. And I like that there's multiples of each print, like 5 or 6 per print in each set. So I decided to go that way for this Bliss Quilt Along for this block, or for this whole quilt. So what I'm getting at is their finishing kit has the fabric in it that is used in their recommendation, which I'm not going to need because I use completely different fabric. So I am trying to figure out if I can get just the pattern for the finishing kit, and from what I can tell I cannot, but because of the way I quilt and do things, I typically look at stuff and kind of re-engineer and figure it out. So I have enough information from what's available to me on their website to see what their thoughts were for finishing it. Now I can finish it any way I want, obviously, but I might try to do something similar and to see what I can come up with. So I've been rounding up the stuff for that and looking for block 12, because their last blocks just came out and it should be in that box. So, which means it will be available to me online. I have canceled my subscription to the Sew Sampler. I really, really like their box. I do recommend it specifically for someone who's trying to build their stash, who's new to quilting, who needs some help with putting things together, who likes a little surprise. I like all those things. However, I feel like I have enough of the notions and fabrics and things that I want. I don't need any more surprises of things that are just duplicates in a lot of things for me. So I'm not getting the box, which means I'm not getting the block of the month pattern. However, you can purchase them on their website, and they have past years in there too. So check those out, and if this is something you want to do and you haven't been getting the box, don't worry, do what I'm doing. Just go to their website, type in Bliss, and then you're going to get some fabric with the name Bliss in it, but you'll also get the individual blocks, which is what I'm doing here. So I've had boxes up until the last couple months, and I'm just having to purchase the last couple of patterns. Long story, but that's what's going on with that block of the month program. I am in the middle of quilting. I picked up 8 quilts from the quilter, dropped them all off, got them all back. So my Paw Patrol quilt, which I just did on the Monday Maker, has been bound and given away, and I will upload that along with all the other quilts when I do my first show and tell video of the year. And with it being the end of the first quarter, I think it's a good time to start putting one of those together. And we'll see if I can stay on track with a quarterly thing instead of a big dump at the end of the year like what happened last year. But this is one of the ones I'm working on. So I've started to sew my binding on. I used the white thread so that it would show up on here, but I don't want white when I finish it off with the pink, so I haven't switched my thread out yet. So that's why this is just hanging here in its partial state. Same goes for this quilt right here. I used white because I wanted it to show on this side, but it's a teal. So I've started things. My husband's BYU quilt is done and on the bed with him, but you'll get to see all those finished quilts. But I have a stack, so I've been busy. That's what I've been doing this last week. I also have been working on the summer sampler by Sandy Gervais. It's this. This is the quilt, and it's approximately 60 by 76, and there's, what, 13 blocks in there. I have finally got all of the blocks cut out and in the individual bags ready for me to sit down and start stitching. I will more than likely work on this with the quilt retreat that I'm going to be going to in just a few weeks, but I finally have the blocks in here cut out. I don't have my sashing or the border done yet. Not worried about that. It's going to take me a while to piece these, especially because some of them have a lot of little pieces. But I finished that. That took me a couple days. And I have another project that I have had up and down on my wall where I'm using the Adele in fall fabrics. I know we're going into spring, but I'm thinking fall, so I can get things quilted and back. But I have a large fat quarter bundle of this whole line, and I've been wanting to do something with it, and I've also been collecting large pieces of fabric for backings and bindings. And I say multiple because I do believe this will turn into multiple quilts, and so I wanted to have some consistency with that. But I've gone ahead and I've cut up all of these, and this will be a Monday Maker video. Very, very simple. However, now that I've sewn together a good little stack, I'm kind of thinking this is all the bigger I want this quilt to be. Maybe a couple more rows, but I have all this other fabric that I've already cut out to make more of those blocks. But I have this cute little fox quilt that I want to make for my granddaughter, and I think this fabric, specifically all the browns and oranges, will work really well with that. So I'm hoping, actually I'm thinking I'm going to shift gears away from this one until I cut out all the pieces for my little foxes, and then see what's left over and then go back to working on that project. So right now I'm kind of trying to figure out what way to go, or if I even want to use the Adele in Spring fabric on this. The little girl is like 5, and even though she loves foxes, I feel like this fabric, it's definitely a fall print and a little more mature prints. I guess I don't need the greens, so maybe I want the greens. I'm kind of thinking maybe something that's more floral, but in the oranges and browns. So I'm keeping my eye open for that. There's several really cute oranges that I think will work in here. I keep thinking that this is going to be the way I go. So you know what, I'm going to start cutting into this, and if I don't like it, then I'll get another fox quilt for me or somebody else, and I'll get a trial run at that. But that I think is really cute. So I'm working on 2 quilts using that same fabric. This one right here is very similar to what this upcoming Makers Monday video is going to be on, where it is a free pattern that I had gotten from American Patchwork Quilting. It's a magazine. You have access to online and a bunch of free patterns when you subscribe. I don't know if you can get to the free patterns without being a subscriber, because I am, and that's what I see. But this is the pattern that this is inspired by, the one with the big rectangles I just showed you. And I don't even think you need a pattern, because all I've done is made a bunch of rectangles using their increments, and it's just a matter of turning them and then giving it a border. And then and I don't really care for the border they've got going on there, so I'm going to change it. So it's just a bunch of squares, rectangles turned into squares that are going to be turned. Simple, right? So that is what's going on with that, but I haven't wanted to work on it because it's fall and I want to do something more light and fun and springy. But I am excited to work on this fox. So I pulled the fabric out again, but I've got these 2 quilts that I'm working on with that same fabric. I also have a couple other pieced quilts that are specifically for fall that I had this fabric in mind for. So I'm not even worried what happens with these. I have plenty of fabric, including yardage that could be for backs and just cut into for other things. They're all part of this same set. So I guess the moral of that story is stick around and see what I end up doing, because I don't even know. My Monday maker video is going to be inspired by this quilt right here, which is also from American Patchwork Quilting. It's a free download for members. It is possibly something you can buy or maybe even get free as not a member. Both of these quilts can be found at allpeoplequilt.com. And so I'm going to make something very similar to that using all these fun bright colors in orange, black, and fuchsia. So this will be what's happening on Monday. I did a shop tour at Forget-Me-Not Quilt Shop, which is in Riverton, Utah. And while I was there, she talked a little bit about a shop hop. And she explained what that is. It's basically a network of local quilters or quilt shops that get together, and they have a scheduled time, or there's like 8 days where people can go into all the different shops that are listed as participating and play games, get a free pattern, enter for some drawings. And so this was posted, and this is the shop hop, and the quilt shops that are all here are all in the Wasatch Front part of Salt Lake. So but my girlfriend's quilt shop is in here, so is Forget-Me-Not Quilts and Quilt Etc., which I have done fabric shop. I have done shop tours on all 3 of those stores, and they are participating in this. I believe there's 12. There's 13, but my girlfriend's quilt shop is in here twice, so there's technically 12. But it's running Friday through Saturday, May 5th and 6th. They don't do it on Sunday, they're all closed, but then it picks up again on Monday, May 8th, and goes through Saturday, May 13th, so a total of 8 days. And from 10 to 6 is when that happens. And they have a theme, and this year it's the Forgotten Holidays. And I do know that Forget-Me-Not Quilts, they are doing Monopoly Day. So they're going to be having games surrounded by or based off of Monopoly. So that's their theme, and that sounds like a lot of fun. This right here I know is from a previous year's shop hop. It was called Row by Row. And then after the fact they had some kits, and so I picked this up. But I'm not sure how that year worked, but that's what this came out of. So you get stuff like that there. So anyway, that's coming up. I'm excited. There is a YouTuber named Jess. Her channel's name is Oklaroots. And she is a quilter, but she does a lot of crafts and bag making. And I watched a video tutorial on something that I find very handy because I have a bunch of traveling coming up. And I bought the pattern. There is a link to it through her video, so I'll link her video. It was not a free pattern, but it's super cute. Let me tell you what it is and why I'm excited. It is a travel type tote. So it hooks on your suitcase, wraps around the arms like that, the bars, It has pockets on the front and the back side of this part right here, and it's stiff. And then on the front, it has 2 cup holders, which has Velcro between the two, so you just wrap it around that to secure it, and then you pop it open to take it off. So it's super easy on and off, but it's secure at the same time. This is a picture of a bunch of different ones that have been done, and here it is when it's just open. And then here you can see the Velcro strip, so it wraps around those 2 Velcro strips hooked together. So this is my goal, and here it is just showing drinks or Pringles with it on the luggage. Here it is open, just showing you what it looks like. So it does take vinyl, it does take, or should I say waterproof fabric is what you probably want because of condensation. And she did a really good job with the tutorial, so I'm gonna spend some time and make those, and it might turn into Maker's Monday. I'm really not sure, but I was really excited to get this. It's kind of a dark picture, but I just think it's adorable, and hopefully you get the idea of what that is and how handy it can be for travel. I have an update. I have had some issues with video equipment. I'm hoping to make some changes, or to have made some changes that are helpful for that. One is the viewfinder. I've had a hard time seeing what is in the viewfinder because my camera has a screensaver and it goes black. So from my view, I can't see after more than like 30 seconds what's happening. And if I move the camera at all, I am at a loss for what's in there. So I do apologize for some of the videos not being in full frame. But hopefully, like with the pillowcase video specifically, there's enough instruction and it doesn't stay that way, that you guys were able to stick with it. And I appreciate your patience on that. But hopefully I won't have any more new videos coming out with that problem. And I'm also trying to work on the microphone so that I come through a little louder. And I'm using something different today, so I'd be interested to hear your feedback to know if it makes a difference, if you notice any difference between this and my other videos that I've done recently. As I have mentioned, I'm going to go on a retreat. I actually have 2 retreats coming up, and I am trying to make sure I have what I need, plus some traveling. But the retreats I'm worried about because I have to take stuff, even though they're within driving distance. It's a little bit of a pain to pick up your stuff and move when I like to sew at home. But I have this pattern from Annie's, and I like the idea of these large project bags. And let's see if it tells me 4 sizes. This I hope to be making in the next couple weeks if I make it at all. The large jumbo size right here is 18 by 18. That's what I like. So I have 18 by 18, 15 by 15, 14 by 12 is this one. And then, sorry, 14 by 12, and then 12 by 8. But they have the vinyl front, they have handle, they have a zipper going through. It is, they've used soft and stable, so it's actually quilted to give it some stability. And then it has a vinyl clear front, also for stability and to see your project. So, wish me luck. You know, I get over ambitious of all these things I want to do. So one of my machines, I worked it too hard, has to go to the shop, so I had to switch those around. And so the machine I have to work with right now is the machine I like to use when I go to retreats. So I can't imagine my machine being out of commission that long that I have to worry about that. But it's kind of sad when they break down, and I broke this one. I don't know if you can notice, but I have a whole bunch of these quilt blocks up here. These are part of the Reflections quilt that I'm working on. It's a Moda quilt. It's a free pattern. No, I take it back. It's not a free pattern, sorry. But it is, you can find it on Moda's website, and it's called Reflection. And it's just basically the same block over and over and over, but in reverse colorway. So I have 12 blocks cut out and all sewn together, and so I was doing one a week. Right now, because I have them all done, I'm just wrapping up a week I think 11 of this, so I got myself ahead by completing all of them. I still have 3 colors that I can add to this that are very similar to some others on here that won't be missed if they're not in there, other than for size. So it could make a big difference to add 3 more sets of, I think I have like 14 blocks for each one of these. So it just depends on how big it ends up going. But in a few weeks, and it might even be longer than that, I will start arranging these and putting them together. I'm not even sure. I wasn't planning on having it this far along at this point, but it could still grow. But right now I've got the basic that it's asked for on the pattern put together, and I'm happy to report they are done. And this is what broke my machine. So I can't blame it on that, but that's what I was doing when it broke. I have mentioned this quilt several times, and this is the Germany themed quilt using this fabric. I've now figured out the greens that will be used in it. And so I have these 2 greens that I want to incorporate in it. But I also need some other colors, and I need to get the embroidery files. I need to get this one going. I've just had a hard time kind of having a starting point. I know the pattern that they want. It's one that I've used. I'm recreating another quilt that I've done. So wish me luck. Keep nudging me to start it. It's for a wedding in October, so I do need to get it going. I've been doing a lot of sniffling. Hopefully it's not too bad, and I apologize. I have been sick, and it's more respiratory, but it turned into a really bad cough, and I really thought it was allergies because I was just sneezing like crazy, and then I had a dry tickle in my throat that was making me cough, and then it went away, and then it came back, same spot, and then it went to my lungs. And so I haven't felt sick other than there's a little congestion in my head, and that's why I'm thinking it's allergies. I finally went to the doctor last week, and he wasn't too worried about it. But then over the weekend I got super sick, and so Monday I went back in, and he put me on 4 medications, cough medicine, steroid, antibiotic, and an inhaler because my symptoms were so bad. And then my husband got sick, and he's already having respiratory issues, so I'm not happy about that. So we went back in the doctor to see about getting him on stuff before he turned as bad as I did before I initially sought help. And honestly, it's been a few days, but we are both still like declining. I feel better because I never really was like down and out sick, but even through COVID, I was still not that way. I mean, didn't feel well, but I think I just keep moving. So I probably am more sick than I think I am. But it's a you can hear it, and the coughing, especially at night, is really bad, and it keeps me up. So again, my husband's on oxygen due to COVID, a lovely souvenir parting gift. And so he's got enough respiratory issues, and the fact that we both got hit with COVID in December, and now he's got this with me again. I'm not happy. So hopefully it's not going to be as hard on him as COVID was again this last time. I think anything that hits him with respiratory is just doubly hard. So we're struggling with that. But if you're hearing me sound funny or some coughing in the background, it's either me or my husband. And hopefully we're going to kick this because we have somewhere to be in a few weeks, and I want to go. Here's the Reflection Quilt. So I think it's really cute, and I might choose to do the lines, or the sashing between, or I might not. If I do the 3 more rows or colors, I actually would have enough to do 1 more column this way, which would make it wider, which this is 66 by 84, so it's not that big, surprisingly, considering there's a lot of fabric there. So I like the idea of that going wider. I also was able to stretch and get a couple extra blocks out of some of these colors, so I'm not sure the layout. Not sure the layout or how far it's going to go, but everything I do is loosely based off of a pattern I see. So we'll see. But that's the pattern I'm attempting to make. And it's called Reflection, and it's through Moda. I've done a bunch of reorganizing in my room. I am always shifting and doing that, and I have misplaced something. I did that a couple weeks ago too. I know it's in a good spot that will make sense when I find it, but I have been busy trying to make things a little more organized in here as I'm getting more settled and things are making more sense to me. I don't know if you guys are like that too, where, you know, when you first come home with something and need to add it, you think you have a good spot, but then you're kind of making do, and then later you're like, aha, let's move it. That's where I am right now. Last week I talked about this. I'm still excited to want to cut this out. And with it being spring and summer already, I really want to get that cut out sooner than later. So my goals for the near future, where did I put it? Are to cut out what I need for this and what I need for this, and to start sewing all my blocks together. I still have a stack of blocks from Reb's Fab Stash from their block of the month from last year, where they were just random blocks, and then some other similar random just blocks that I want to put together as a big sampler quilt, or possibly a whole bunch of little small blocks. I'm not really sure, but I cut them out a while ago, and they're still sitting on my desk because that's not been a priority, and again, it's a good project for retreat, and I've got two. So those will be coming together, but they're at least cut out. So my goal is to get these two cut out, and then to start sewing on the summer sampler, and we'll see where I go with all that. I have been working on this quilt block, doing the blanket stitch. I've got the black and the white done, so as I change the colors on my thread of my machine, I will see if it matches and keep adding. That way I can slowly do it without having to keep messing with my machine. I don't know about you, but it's inconvenient to change thread colors, so I don't like to, even though it's really, really easy. But this one is not in a hurry, so as I get those colors in the machine, I will do my best to finish it, and it's slowly coming along. All right, remember me saying I'm so organized I can't find things? I think what I'm looking for is in this box. Ta-da! It is! Yay! Okay, so this is everything for that summer sampler quilt, which here is the bigger one in here, and then here's some scrap fabric that goes with this I want to keep with it. So what I've got in here are a bunch of little projects blocks. So I've shown you all these I've cut out, and they're just waiting to be finished. There's that little house I was working on. I knew I had a plan. So this trunk, I'm going to call it a trunk, is going on the retreat with me, and anything else I find to go in there, but these are my projects. And these are the blocks of the month I've been putting aside. This will be 2 watermelon blocks. I have a tulip block. I have a holly block. So I don't want to disrupt this too much, but each of these boards have several blocks laid out with their patterns right here. So they are not going to go in anything other than their own bag. So we'll see if a project bag is created with this in mind. But that's my goal. Get these things done. I've really been busy this week, but it's kind of hard to show. I've been working on bindings, wrapping this up, cutting this this kit out. Took a couple days, so getting that finished, and just not feeling well. So I think when I break it down like that, I think I did more than I thought I did, and I'm okay. So that's it for now. Please come back at Saturday for updates, and I'm open for suggestions on what I need to do to make things better, what you want to see, whatever. Please make comments. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks for being here. Have a good day.